What's up my loves, my name is Paige, this is Paige, this is Paige, and today we're going to be doing Do I Have That Book Challenge. Oh Lord help, I'm nervous, so I will leave a link to the original creators YouTube channel as well as the link to the original video, and yeah. So I'm very nervous about this. I've got my red shelves here. I've got my Roald Dahl and Harry Potter and Classic shelf over on this side, as well as a random assortment there. I've got my rainbow shelf over there, a corner bookcase, and my TBR shelf. Cart, yeah. I have a lot of books, and that's not including the ones that are out the back. I've ignored those because it would take too much time for me to run out there and run back. So I've got my dad's tablet with the questions on it. I emailed them to him so I could get it, and I'll start a timer, and yeah. Okay, whew, I'm not stressed. I really shouldn't be wearing a cardigan. I don't need it right now, but it's fine. We're fine. It's fine. It's fine. All right. Whew, okay. I'm so nervous. Okay. Play. And the first question is a book with deckled edges. Next one is 3 or more people on the cover. A book based on another fictional story. 10 letters long. Starts and ends in the same letter. Mass market paperback. Author using a pen name. Character's name in it. 2 maps. Turn into a TV show. Who was originally famous for something else. Clock on the cover. On the cover, a poetry book, Milk and Honey, of course. What else would it be? Awards Day by Tim. Aristotle and Dante. Same initials. Book of short stories. Yes, what are 500. Okay, let's hate my soul, why don't we? Turn into a movie. Graphic novel. 2 or more authors. Minutes and 4 seconds, and I bet that was the clock. But I think I've covered everything. Alright, and for evidence, there we go. Alright. Well, that was tragic. I'm not going to try hold those up again because that failed miserably, but as you saw, I have that book. Alright, so the first one is Do I Have Deckled Edges? And I went with If We Were Villains by Emma Rio. This was one of my favourite reads of 2019. Next we had to find a book with 3 or more people on the cover, and I went with Fairy Tale Volume 3 because it was the closest one. I could do any. The next one was Do You Have a Book Based on a Fictional Story? And I went with Pride by E.B. Savoy because this is based off Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Do you have a title that is 10 letters long? I do. I have Geekarella by Ashley Poston. This is the first in the Once Upon a Con series. I absolutely adore these. I think they're fantastic. And yeah, this one was Do You Have a Title That Starts and Ends with the Same Letter? I have Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I've never actually read this. Next was a mass market paperback, and so I went with my poor beat up and sticky taped together version of Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. This is the second in the Farseer trilogy. Next we had an author using a pen name, so I went with, oh, I really did damage that book. I went with Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. Mira Grant is a pen name for Shona Maguire. Next up was a character's name in the title, so I went with Sadie by Courtney Summers. We do follow Sadie's perspective, and then we also follow the podcast, which is following Sadie's footsteps. So yeah, definitely really enjoyed this. I thought it was quite harrowing, and yeah, one of my favourite reads of 2018, I believe. Next up was a book with 2 maps in it, and I chose Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. This definitely does have 2 maps, I think I showed earlier. 1 and 2, and it's interesting seeing the maps now, knowing what they actually represent and how they're drawn. But yeah, I hated this when I first read it. Well, I didn't hate it, I gave it 2 stars. I really didn't like it, but would say that I hated it. And then proceeded to read the rest of the series and gave it a 3 and a 4 star respectively. So listen to the audiobooks. If you can handle sex scenes through audiobooks, yeah. Next was a book that has turned into a TV show, and I went with Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett, and this is a signed first edition that I found at a book fair for $4. Next on the hit list we had to find a book written by someone else, written by someone who was originally famous for something else, and I went with Hannah Witton's Doing It, Let's Talk About Sex. She is a sex educator on YouTube and I absolutely adore her channel. She's recently started putting out a little bit more bookish content and I'm living for it. I think she's fantastic, and yeah. Next up was a book with a clock on the cover, and good lord, that was a challenge. I genuinely thought I did, but heaven forbid if I could actually find one. No idea. So I went with Alice by Christina Henry. This does have a pocket watch, which is a form of a clock, so I'm gonna count that. So just jumping in, I did Pinch of Magic has a clock on the cover. I knew I had one somewhere, but alas. Yeah. The next was to find a poetry book, and Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. I did have other forms of poetry, but this was the closest one that was accessible, and yeah, I enjoyed it. Modern poetry is a bit of a hit or a miss with me. I really enjoy the really ragey kind of ones, I suppose. Next, I needed to find a book with an award stamp, and so I went with Aristotle and Dante Discovered the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alira Sands, and this has 4 award stamps on it, so yeah, really happy. Next, I had to find a author that had the same initials as me, and I did not think it was going to happen until I realised that I had some in alphabetical order by author surname, and so I went to my B's and I found Paul Beatty, the seller. I have no idea what this is about, but PB, we're the same, so cool. Next, I needed a book of short stories, so I picked up Dark Alchemy, edited by Jack Dan and Gardner Doise. It has stories from Garth Nix, Eon Colfer and Neil Gaiman, as well as a few others, and I really, really enjoyed these. I thought they were really interesting. So next was a book that was between 500 and 510 pages, so I quickly ran and grabbed my reading journal because I was confident that one of the books I'd read this year was in that time frame, in that page count, and Little Women by Louise May Alcott was 507 pages. Thank the sweet Lord. I might have cried if I didn't have one. I read this back in January and this is really wholesome. I fell in love with it after seeing the movie. I decided that I needed to pick it up and read it, and I also have a second copy on the shelf because I just like the different editions. Next was a book that got turned into a movie, and I went with Tequila, Mockingbird by Harper Lee, and obviously it's got the classic film, and I really enjoyed the story. I can understand the critiques of it and how this isn't supposed to be the be all and end all of your racist knowledge. I felt that it was a good starting point to dive into it, but again, it is a white savior story, which isn't helpful in the long run. It is better to pick up own voices stories that actually tell the narrative from their perspective and make the different protagonists in charge of their lives and not just a white person coming in and saving the day. Next was a graphic novel, and I was originally going to pick Saga, but it was on the other side of the shelf, so I grabbed Monstrous, Volume 1 by Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda. And the final question, we're at the end, was a book with 2 or more authors. And so I went with Aurora Burning by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This was pretty close to accessible, and this is the second in the Aurora Rising series, the Aurora Cycle, sorry. So that's my do I have that book challenge. I think I have everything bar a proper clock, and even then I could run around and find one, but it would probably be out the back. And those books are currently on the floor because my dad's rearranging the furniture. So yeah, good fun. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. This was very chaotic. I'm sweating, but still in my cardigan because it's new and it has pockets. So yeah. If you are interested and new to BookTube and haven't done this challenge, feel free to consider yourself tagged. I wouldn't actually know who has or hasn't done it to actually tag people in tags, hence why I just leave it. But yeah, my disclaimer, See, you can say you've been tagged by me. More than welcome to. And yeah, if you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and comment down below if you've done this challenge or if you're interested in doing it. Do you think you could find a book with a clock on the cover? And yeah, if you'd like to see more of this mess, feel free to subscribe and I'll hopefully see you in my next video. Bye!